Wie geht's alle Apple? I wanted to talk tonight about Amish education. Here's a reading book that we had in school. It's called Engine Whistles. It was published in 1957. Most of our books, reading books, math books, we call them arithmetic. Reading books, arithmetic books, the geography and history books, those were all usually published in the 50s or 60s or older. I've got a lot of different comments about Amish education. There was one on my YouTube channel where the guy said, you seem too educated to have ever been Amish. And, well, first he said, you don't seem like an Amish person to me. I guarantee you were never Amish. And I said, I don't care what your opinion is. And he said, well, you're too educated. The syntax and the way you speak, and you don't even know what all that stuff means. But, you know, then I said, now you've got my attention. Are you trying to call, the Amish people uneducated? And he backtracked pretty fast. But just because, the Amish people only go through 8th grade does not make them uneducated. In the Amish, a lot of your education could depend on your teachers. So the only requirement you had to have to be a teacher in my community was you had to be at least 16 years old. And all the boys were off, working construction and sawmills and furniture shops. So usually it was a girl, 16 years to marriage age. And sometimes there was some unmarried girls, some old maids that taught for many years. And if you were lucky enough to get one of those, you actually learned a lot more usually than with one of the girls that had never taught before. Because teaching 8 grades in one room, it's quite the task. But it also depended on how much you paid attention. We were not allowed to speak Amish during school days, except on Fridays when we learned German, reading, writing, and spelling as well. But I remember my 8th grade teacher moved in from Wisconsin, and I had to explain some of the math problems to her. And I remember another one of my teachers that was giving us spelling words, and she said, bury. And I knew which word she was talking about because I had studied my words. And I said, could you use that in a sentence, please? And I acted confused. She looked out the window and said, the coal is buried under the snow. And I said, oh, I thought that was bury. So she looked it up in the dictionary, and her face got all red, and she was like, you're right. But, at least the rest of the class learned the proper way to pronounce. And in our school, we'd have debates on, proper way to say an English word or to pronounce it. And if there was any doubt, we figured out how to read the dictionary and figured it out for ourselves. And that usually put an end to the arguments.